Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. I taped it 6:52 a.m. on Sunday morning, December the 6th. We're at the end of our semester, one of the historic fall 2020 semester, right during the worldwide pandemic. And you all were educators during this time, so we're going to have quite a story to tell. So this video is about our how we can grow as a faculty and how we can grow as an academic institution. And we're attending the SACS conference this week. The president, the members of her leadership team, and the SACS reaffirmation team have been going to classes. And one of the workshops that I attended talked about the fact that you can't have continual improvement without having feedback. And that feedback can come from many different forms. But first, I want to express to you or, allay any fears that if anyone part of our organization brings a concern to the provost's office or, the academic affairs or one of the chairs, that I personally don't see it as, an opportunity to finger point or place blame or to look at what some individual has done wrong. I look at it as an opportunity to grow our institution by learning what it is that we need to do to make things better. So you need to know that when a student brings a concern forward, first of all, I don't always see it as a complaint. I don't always see it as, I never see it as catastrophic ever. I receive it as information to do something about, like if we had a door that was unlocked at one of our faculty buildings, we just know we need to secure the door. Maybe even go inside and make sure that nothing was taken. But we don't, it's not a catastrophe unless it is a catastrophe. The door was opened by an angry bear that was stuck inside of McKenzie Hall. Now that's a catastrophe. But 99.9% of the time, when a student brings a concern to me, it's simply showing us where there's a door unlocked or where there's a window that's open or where there's something objective that doesn't make us think of, it's personal against me as a faculty or my whole teaching approach. I never see it that way. However, I want us to address them as if they are each important. We don't need 20 or 30 or aggregate of student concerns for us to say, hey, here's an area to look, right? If we had that unlocked door in one building, we wouldn't say, well, that's only one unsecured door. All the other doors on campus are secure. So, you take some, you lose some. No, you want every door secure. And honestly, here at Miles College, we want every single student that's participating as a student here at Miles College to have all of their needs and concerns addressed fairly if they have to do with academics. They are going to college, they are, their parents have raised money or their parents have written a check, they are taking out loans, they are using their Pell here at Miles College with us. They could go anywhere. They are consumers of our great educational content, and we do have a responsibility to listen to them about their concerns and what they need. They're going to help us improve. So when I was working at UC Berkeley several years ago, I got some criticism from, well, you know how we do the student evaluation, so I'll call it criticism, critique from students that, I read it and I was like, oh, well, they didn't say I was a bad teacher, but my chair called me into the office to discuss with me the evaluations. And this is something that they do at other colleges often, and that they do at Berkeley for sure. And that's every little thing can be addressed in a way of how can we improve this. So when I got called into the office, I was excited to go there. My chair at the time was Stephen Henshaw. He's a psychologist out there in California. I look forward to the meeting. It wasn't something like I was in trouble. It was a brainstorming meeting. I approached it that way. He approached it that way, and the results were pretty good. What I was discouraged by was in the evaluations, a few students said that I didn't give them an opportunity to challenge me. I didn't understand really what that even meant. So at a school like UC Berkeley, it really matters to allow the students to express themselves. And, you think of what Berkeley means and, that whole free speech and all those kind of things. And you think about that Berkeley ethos, right? And so we had to go over why these students evaluated me in that way. So my first thought was, well, it's not like saying I was a bad teacher, right? But it's significant. So the chair asked me, what is it that, have you approached your class that might have made the students respond in this way when they were asked this question? Not what did you do wrong? Not, explain the student side of it. No, what might have happened that might have allowed, enough students that I was meeting with my chair to have to say that they had this experience with you. So the only thing I came up with was that a student who got a 98 on a paper wanted to know what 100 was. And I just thought, I think I said something like, what do you want me to give you the 2 points? Or, but what they were really trying to do was engage me more about the quality of the content, what excellence was in that class, right? And maybe they were personally interested in that topic as well and wanted to get more information about it. And later I found out that was actually the case. They wanted to delve deeper into some of the things that they were learning in my African American psychology class. So the best thing that I did in that process was open myself up to that feedback, right? Like I said, I wasn't, downtrodden or worried or scared or shaking in my boots when I went to meet the chair. I was excited because I thought of the chair as an ally, whatever it is we were trying to do, felt like we were working on it together. And oh, by the way, when you get the audience with the chair, you may be sliding some other ideas that you got, some book ideas or some research ideas or some faculty development that you want to do. So I saw it as an opportunity. So I want you to see it that way too. Anytime that you're talking to me, now, you have division chairs. So most faculty never talk to me at all in a semester. They see me on these videos and Zooms that we do, but we don't actually ever talk. So if I actually call and talk to you, most of the time, it's not punitive. It is me trying to help solve a problem. Or you guys know that I have the freshman forum. It's a freshman that needs some help. And so I'm just treating freshmen like they've got that fast pass at Disney World. Everybody's going to get on a ride, but they go to the head of the line when they have a concern. So that's probably why you've heard from me this semester is probably a freshman. Okay, so the point that I'm making about this feedback, oh, I didn't say, the end result of the feedback was the chair invited me to this session with wine and cheese with the students. I know it's California, it's a little different than Alabama, but we drank the wine, they ate the cheese. And during the wine and cheese, the students got to just give you direct feedback about your class. And I, again, approached it as something I looked forward to. And it was fun. It was, the students were they had to sign up to get to do it. So that gives you an idea of how, excited the students were about doing it. And I got some really straightforward feedback. And the feedback that I didn't like the most was a student. Her name is Diana, and I'll tell you why in a second, but I'm saying her name. And she said, Dr. Agee, I'm going to help you next semester. There's some things I think you need to do. I'm going to help you next semester. And here I am thinking, I am the faculty member. How are you going to tell me what I need to do better next semester? So she signed up to be my TA. And she was an upper division psychology student. And the things that she had me do for my class grew my class by, we went from having 8 to 30 to 60 students in the class to hosting the class in one of the library's biggest lecture halls for the liberal arts classes. So, and that was as a result of me listening to her critiques. And they were really actually things like, hey, the students don't understand this part, or you think this is clear, but when you show this PowerPoint, you need to make more of a point about this because we were interested in it. I'll give you an example. In my African American psychology class, there was a lecture around questions regarding paternity in the Black family. So I'm like, oh, everybody knows this, so I'll just breeze through this topic. And my students weren't all African American. My students weren't all familiar with that topic as such, and felt like I was breezing over something that was significant. So we spent more time on it, and great discussions came out of it, and papers came out of it, and they were enlightened. I was enlightened. So that feedback can be very good and very helpful. So this is a card. I made myself notes to stay on topic. This card says feedback. Oh, I wonder if it's showing reverse. Let's see. Anyway, it might be showing reverse. I wonder if I can flip that now. There is a way to flip it so we're not reversed. Just 1 second. It's called mirror. Let's see. Just now I gotta catch light. Feedback. All right, so feedback is very important. And where can feedback come from? So think about all of the places that you can get feedback from, or all of the places that I mentioned that I got feedback from. So one area that we are familiar with, or more likely to get our feedback from, that we're used to getting feedback. Let's see if I do it like this. The place we're most used to getting our feedback from is our chairs, or in my case, we think of the provost, which is me. But other areas that we could get feedback from, if we're open to it, we know that I'm going to figure this out and then we'll get it right. Let's see, what if I do this? Okay, seems like that's the sweet spot. So faculty, right? Faculty get and give feedback mostly to who? Our students, right? But what if we turned that feedback, right? If we turn that feedback on its head, and our students, right? Our students were given that feedback to us, and we received it and accepted it and used it as a way to grow. So who else can give us feedback? Try this one more time. These cards, and you think with the light that it would work, right? Better to get it sometimes from our peers than from our supervisors, because with our supervisors, we could be very worried about our jobs, our evaluations, our perceptions. So if your peers are willing to tell you something, they're willing to tell you how to make your job better. What if we were all on a championship skateboarding team together, and one of our teammates told us, hey, when you go down this trail or course, it banks hard to the right when you get to this point, right? That's a better use of feedback than someone just letting you figure it out for yourself. So we can use our peers. And then finally, probably one of the most important evaluations, is self-evaluation, right? And that's where we figure out for ourselves, hey, this isn't working. Like when I look at this assignment and all the students are not doing well on this assignment, how can I adjust assignment? Instead of looking at, well, these students just aren't getting it, right? What is it that we can do? Hey, if I keep getting the same feedback, and for me, it was not tens of, it wasn't hundreds of students, it was a few students that mentioned about the evaluation, at Berkeley. So don't let it wait to where there's 30 students having the same concern, right? One or two may be able to tell you something that is helpful. And then you yourself start to aggregate what you like or what you think you should transform or where you could improve. Another thing, when you think about any of this feedback, if you were in your car and you left your coat in the car door and someone stopped you and said your coat is in the car door, how many people does it take for you to recognize your coat is in the car door? So we don't have to think of it like well, this is the individual experience of one student or one faculty member said that, I'm not going to change my ways. But hey, if one person tells you and it's actually true, then how many people do you need to tell you the same thing for you to say this is an area of improvement? So that is it for me on this. I really want us to start to focus on feedback as an improvement tool and not just as a corrective tool. You will hear from me, and you won't hear from me because somebody is in trouble. It will be like the chair that I worked with. It will be like working with Diana Park. That was my TA at Berkeley. Shout out to Diana. And she actually helped me improve how I look at being an instructor overall, just by giving me that feedback every single week. You know, good job, boss, or this is where the students are missing it, or they don't think the midterm is fair because you didn't lecture on the ABC. And I might still say, well, that's fine, they can do some extra work. Or I might say, oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind for the next time. Or it might have an impact on this time where I say, okay, that part that seems a little different than what I lecture on, I'm going to let it be an extra credit, right? And so everybody wins. The students' voice is heard. I'm able to make adjustments that I feel good about in using my own academic integrity and my faculty expertise. But then the students are having an experience where they're doing the ultimate thing we want them to do, which is learn and grow. So please know that we're going to have more opportunities for feedback. We have done professional development. We all get together and these, massive meetings and Zooms, but our professional development in the spring semester is going to be more focused and laser-like focused, where you are going to be given opportunities to find out what you need specifically. And I'm not just talking about go to this conference or that kind of thing, but how do I use grades first to keep students from failing class? Or how do I change my in-person approach to match the assignments that are going to be delivered on Blackboard? Or how can I get students to use my office hours more, or spend more time asking me questions that help facilitate class? Or how can I create a class that students don't want to miss? So we'll be working on those things. We also will have, as part of our performance evaluation for our 2021-2022 contracts, this feedback. How are we receiving feedback? So then that way you can know, I'm doing great. And from this year to last year, it's just getting better and better. So we're actually going to be able to monitor and track how we're doing with feedback. And that is 360-degree feedback, where that feedback comes from our students, right? That feedback comes from our peers, right? And then also that feedback comes from our chairs and our provost, and an opportunity for some self-evaluation in our performance evaluation, so we can talk about our own perception of the things that we've done well and things that we would like to grow on ourselves. So thank you so much. And there will be more information about feedback. There's a video on feedback from an HR perspective, how to provide feedback to each other, but then also it'll help us in receiving feedback, particularly if it's negative feedback or constructive feedback, how we can receive that so we can use it to grow. So thank you guys so much, and hope you're having a good day. And there'll be more of these videos in our Google Classroom.